Hi Anna, this is Sarah with The Joyful Entrepreneur. I am recording a screencast to critique your shop. So the way that this works is I have your shop up on my computer screen and I'm using a software that records my screen as I'm looking at it. And I have a microphone that I talk into so you can kind of hear me and my thoughts as I go through your shop. So I'm kind of excited to go through your shop. I know that you're not a Flourish member. I don't believe that you are part of the Joyful Entrepreneur. So this is going to be fun because you really don't know me and you don't know what I teach. So I think that this will be a very good eye-opener for you. It will help you know where you need to focus. Hopefully it gives you some direction and starts bringing in sales for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I don't know you very well. I don't know your background. I'm not really sure if you do this full time, if this is something you do on the side, if this is what you want to do to support yourself. I don't know much at all, which is kind of nice because the success of an Etsy seller, well, anyone really that's trying to sell online, comes from whether or not they feel like they are a business owner, right? So many creatives, they think of themselves as hobbyists or crafters, crafty people that, might want to, they make something and they like being creative. And, some of our friends or family might have said, hey, you can make a living, or you should sell those. You should totally go online and sell those. And, if they get a sale or two, that's great. But those types of sellers aren't going to have huge success. It's not like they're going to post their things and they're just going to take off and go, straight through the roof. That's not how it works. The Etsy sellers that have great success, and there are a lot of them. There's I think 1.7 million sellers on Etsy. How many of those do you feel make 6 to 7 figures? You might say, that's crazy. I don't believe anybody's doing that. But believe it or not, it happens. I was a top seller on Etsy. My last year on Etsy, before I closed my shop, I made just under $200,000. Currently in my Flourish program, I have a group of 100Kers, which we call them, which are 6-figure earners. We also have 2 people that are very just over $1 million a year. So it is possible. And you say, well, how can one person do that? Well, they can't. I mean, you have to start somewhere. And then as you grow, you hire employees, you hire help, you make your products and your processes more efficient. But you have to start somewhere. So this critique will kind of tell you where you should start. So within the Flourish program, and I speak of Flourish because it's a community for handmade sellers, but even more than that, it's a place where they connect. It's a place where they help each other and support each other. But even more so, it's a place where you get expert advice. So this is advice from people that are the top of the top or the best of the best in their given industry. So you get a lot of good information. If you're interested or curious about Flourish, you can check it out. It is on my website, www.thejoyfulentrepreneur.co, not .com, .co, and just click on the Flourish tab. So I teach from the 5 pillars, what I call the 5 pillars of e-commerce. My background is in sales and marketing. And I feel that these 5 areas, when you're talking about an e-commerce shop, are the most important. Number 1 is branding. Now, why is branding so important? Again, we go back to the makers that don't feel that maybe what they do is an actual business, like as if they would have a physical brick and mortar. But you have to think of it that way. Like if I asked you, Anna, please go downtown to wherever you live, pick out a building, a storefront, and make it your own. What would you do? How would you think about that? Would you worry about getting a sign, right? How are people going to know what types of things you offer in your shop? You would need a sign, right? A sign, a banner, something to go over your door. Perhaps maybe some window displays, maybe some signage. Well, when you start to think about that, then you got to ask yourself, well, what is my business name? What is my shop going to be called? What am I going to offer? And who am I offering it to? What would those people like to see in my shop? What would attract them to my shop? How would I bring in business? Okay, now these might seem like complicated questions, but they're very valid, because just because you have an online shop doesn't mean that you can just throw up pictures of your product and boom, people are going to come in and they're going to buy. No, you have to have a plan. You have to have a vision. You have to have a market of people that you can sell to, right? So what do you make? You make dream catchers. So who might be your target market? Let's talk about that for a minute. Who would buy a dream catcher? Now, this is where a lot of makers say, well, anybody would buy a dream catcher. It's not true. Not everybody will. A lot of my jewelry sellers, they say that when I say, who's your target audience? And they say, well, I sell jewelry, so women. Women would be my target audience. But that's not the case. I'm a woman and I wear jewelry, but I don't like to wear gold jewelry at all. I like silver or white gold. So if you were a jewelry seller and you sold gold jewelry, would I be your target audience? No. So you have to kind of think, who would buy my product and why? What do they look like? What do they do? Where do they shop? Where do they live? You really want to ask yourself these specific type questions to kind of narrow down who it is that you want to market to. So for example, I see dream catchers, I think boho, right? Maybe somebody that's more bohemian, more of a free spirit. Perhaps somebody that appreciates the Native American culture. Perhaps somebody that lives in, California or Southwest. Maybe it's somebody who likes pretty soft things, likes to hold on to hope, likes to believe that things can be protectors. Somebody that maybe perhaps just likes it as decor, but has more of a Southwestern boho decor in their home. Perhaps people that would consider themselves hippies or gypsies, right? So when you really want to narrow it down to who you market to, then you can focus your branding around that. So for example, I see here, your shop name is Dream Team Shop. AZ. I don't know if that stands for Arizona. Oh, it does, because you're Phoenix, Arizona. So, so you are probably very much your target market, which a lot of sellers, they aren't, believe it or not. They make things, but they don't necessarily use them. So you're probably very familiar with your target market because you live in Arizona, which is the Southwest, right? So when I see these feathers, I feel that they're very much in line with what you sell, and they're very much in line with who your target audience would be. So I think these are beautiful. I don't know if this is your logo, but it's beautiful, and I think it works great. So what we want to talk about then is this big, huge space up here. All right. Now, since Etsy changed the size of the banner, now it's this big cover photo, right? This is what I want you to think of this space is as if you had that brick and mortar store and you had a big banner, a big marquee, or a big sign above your door in your store that said your shop's name and what we could expect to find there, right? So I want you to think of this space as the sign above your door. So you don't want a picture here. You definitely don't want a product picture. This picture as itself is very blown up. It looks pixelated a little bit. It does create a feeling, and that feeling is okay for your target audience, but it doesn't look very polished. It doesn't look very professional. And a lot of that's another issue. A lot of makers feel, I don't really need to be real professional. I'm a handmade artist or a designer, and I don't need to, it's not like I'm a corporate company. But that's not what I'm saying. You can still have this nice, professional, authentic feel without, feeling corporate. So what I would like to see on here, and what I think would benefit you, is if you created a banner and you had your shop name, Dream Team Shop, your tagline underneath, which could easily say one-of-a-kind handmade dream catchers and home decor, or it could say just dream catchers and home decor, or it could say bohemian dream catchers and home decor. Remember, using words that attract your target market will help create sales. So I would have I would design a new banner. I would get this picture out of there. Have your feathers up there. I think that would be beautiful. If you're not real great with graphic design and you don't have the funds to hire a graphic designer to do it for you, if you do, that's awesome. I highly recommend you do that. But if you don't, you can use Canva. It's canva.com, canva.com. And what Canva does is it allows you to design your own graphics, and it already has templates available that are pre-sized for what you need. So for example, if you go to canva.com, I can actually probably show you here. Okay, so let me show you real quick. This is canva.com, okay? This is all the things that you can do. See, they have an Etsy cover photo, Facebook post. Let's see what else they have. The Etsy shop icon, Facebook cover. So all of these things, you can actually design your own graphics. And it's pretty cool. It's free. Now, they do have some that they charge for. Let's see if I can find one here. So these would probably, yeah, see the little dollar sign? So these, certain of them you have to pay for. And like I said, some of them are like $1, they're not expensive. For example, let's look at this. So this is something that, what kind of feeling do you have here? Right? Now this is going to be very, I'm just doing this quickly. Okay. But Dream Team Shop, right? Dream Team Shop. So you have this kind of graphic behind here, which is very boho. It definitely gives you the feeling of a bohemian, Indian summer kind of feel to it. I don't like, however, this font. I don't think that font works well with what your target market would like. So I'm just doing this to kind of show you how easy and quick it is to design something. I don't like that either. For your business. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Okay, so make this a little bigger. Oops. What's cool, you see the purple lines there? That tells you something is center. So this is what's nice about Canva, is that they make it very user-friendly for those that don't necessarily have Photoshop or aren't able to design something. So we're going to put that there, and then we're going to add in your tagline. let's just bring this here. We want it centered again. See, centered. All right. Now, what was your tagline? Let's go. One of a kind, handmade dream catchers and home decor. I think that is too long. Also, one of a kind you have to be careful with. If everything you make cannot be duplicated and it is truly one of a kind, that's awesome. The problem with that is that if you can't replicate something, it makes it more difficult to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, there's a certain word. It makes it difficult to make your business be able to sell a lot at the same time. In other words, you're going to have to, when you have one of a kind items, you have to, make the item, then photograph it, and then list it, and you have to do that for every single one. It'd be much better if you could make one with materials that you can get easily and be able to offer different quantities of that. It's still handmade, you're still designing it, you're still picking out your materials, and then you could have a one-of-a-kind line and you would charge more for those because they are truly one of a kind. As far as business goes and a business standpoint, it's much better for you to be able to offer items that you can duplicate than all one-of-a-kind designs. But let's just say we do dream catchers. Is that one word? And home decor. It is. All right. Sorry. Okay. Dream catchers, and let's say bohemian inspired. Dream catchers and home decor. Doesn't that sound nice? Okay, so let's put that there. Oops. And we're going to change this font and color. We'll leave it there for just now. Do some kind of a thin. There we go. All right. So something more like, that's too big. That font's too big. Let's go down. And so it's real easy to play with. Very easy to play with. You can see if you like it. You might say, well, now this background is a little too dark for this, so you can make it more transparent. See, something like that. There's a lot you can do with Canva. Maybe I don't like the cream there, so I'm going to change the color to maybe more of a dark purple. That pops more, right? So, this is something that you can do easily, and then you just hit download, and it downloads into your computer, and then you upload it into your Etsy shop, and now you have this nice, professional-looking, clean, banner that tells your customer, your target audience, this is who I am, this is what shop I am, I'm the Dream Team shop, and this is what you can expect to find in my shop, Bohemian Inspired Dream Catchers and Home Decor. Okay? If by any chance you really like that, I can always send it over to you. But this was just something I did obviously real quick. That would look beautiful right there. Maybe include, make it the colors, find something that's the colors of your feathers. If you wanted to include your feathers, let's say you just want a white background. We'll remove the delete image. Okay, let's just say you want a white background, or you want to pick a different colored background. You see, there's so many options that you have. You just, boom, put it right there. Let's see, back. Oops, sorry. Range. See if I can do, no. It's not doing it. There we go. You could do that too. You can do whatever you want. That's how much freedom that you have. But you put that in here. Okay, so again, people are logging on to your shop, or they're getting to your shop, they're searching for Dreamcatcher, whatever it is, and they get to your shop and boom, they're here at your shop. They're right off the bat, they know, hey, this is where I am, this is what I can expect to find. It's also going to be visually appealing to your target audience, so they're going to be very curious and they're going to want to stay on your page and check it out. Okay, so that's just branding. Now your shop icon does not need to have the Dream Team shop because it's, first of all, it's right here, and you would have it in your banner. So your shop icon could just be a feather or a single feather or a couple feathers. That would be nice. Under shop owner, I have no idea what this is a picture of. It appears, let me look. Maybe it's a craft show that you're at or something. Shop owner. The shop owner is not Dream Team's Shop AZ. The shop owner is you, Anna, right? Why are people buying on Etsy? Because it's handmade, because they want to buy from an artisan. They want to buy from a designer. They want to buy from somebody who can craft something. They want something unique and handmade. So you want to sell yourself as part of your shop. So right here under shop owner, I want to see a picture of your face, preferably smiling, and your name, your actual name. Anna, I don't know what your last name is. That's what you want to put here. All right? Very important that you do that. And I know you might think, oh, nobody cares about what's there, but they do. And it's all these little changes that I'm going to mention that I think you should make all kind of come together as a big change. So do that, change it, put your name here. Have a picture of your face. You want your buyers to get to know you. You want them to go, oh my God, I got this dream catcher from Anna. She's the seller on Etsy. She's amazing. You got to go check out her shop. It's Dream Team Shop AZ. People will start talking, but they need to get to know you. And that's another thing, is that with makers, they tend to be introverted. They don't like to be in front of the camera. They don't want to be, they don't want to put themselves out there. But you know, I'm a business coach. I'm a sales coach. I'm a salesperson. So yes, I'm extroverted. I'm a type A. I'm out there selling, and that's why my Etsy shop was so successful. So now if I can teach other makers and creatives like yourself that are more perhaps introverted or don't have that sales marketing background, now all of a sudden you guys can come to the forefront. And that's what needs to happen. You know, I'm a small business advocate, and I want to see the handmade industry become mainstream. I believe that it can happen. You know, so many people are complaining about quality and shopping at Walmart, and, you know, they need to come shop on sites like Etsy. And the only way we're going to do that is to make our handmade businesses just as desirable to shop through and from as the big box stores. Now, we don't have big budgets, right? We're not able to put commercials out on televisions or through social media as much. But we can make these little changes and start a grassroots movement to where people come and visit Etsy more often, and they start talking to their friends and family about it more often. All right, you see this line right here? Etsy says on their, when you're designing your shop and filling out your information, that this should be your tagline. But when you do your banner properly, your tagline will already be in your banner. No reason to duplicate it, right? Now, this is something that not a lot of people know, except for SEO. Google, the Google search algorithm, when it comes to Etsy shops, they focus on the title and the tagline. Okay, these are two areas that they give a lot of priority to. And if you Google your name, your Etsy shop's name, you'll see that this line is shown when it pulls up. Okay, there's actually three areas: this one, and the shop title section. But these two are the most priority. This is what they give the most emphasis on. So knowing that, being aware of that, you can put keywords in this section, and that will help bump your ranking on Google. Now, you're not in Flourish, you're not in the Joyful Entrepreneur that I'm aware of, so you may not know what I mean by ranking. You may not know what I mean by SEO. You may not know what I mean by keywords. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it is so very important when it comes to e-commerce websites. Well, any website really, but specifically e-commerce, because just because you have a website or just because you're on Etsy or wherever you are does not mean that you will be seen by anybody. The only way your shop is going to be seen is if you optimize it. Okay, and you might say, okay, well, what does that mean, or how do I do that? Well, when it comes to algorithms, when it comes to search engines, they look for certain keywords that are on a web page, all right? And depending on the number of keywords that are on that page, depends really on where they rank you. So the way I like to describe it is they have what they call these web crawlers. And it's basically, if you think of, little fingers that are out there crawling the web, okay? And every single page they're indexing. That means they're sorting and organizing. So they bump up on a word. Let's say it's the word Dreamcatcher. They put, hey, this page has to do with dream catchers. They put it in a Dreamcatcher file, right? Or pile. Then they come up on the word Dreamcatcher again throughout your copy. And they put it again in the Dreamcatcher pile. They come on it again in your titles, and they put it in the Dreamcatcher file. So what that does is, as the piles start to stack up with specific words, that lets the algorithm know, hey, when I have a searcher that types in Google or types in the Etsy search bar Dreamcatcher, oh boy, be nice if there we go, Dreamcatcher, they know, hey, I need to show this shop in search, and I need it to show, because I need my searcher to get to where they need to go quickly. It needs to be relevant. So those are keywords. So because of what you sell, you want to make sure that you have those strong keywords in certain areas of your Etsy shop. This is one of them. So instead of having one-of-a-kind handmade, take that out, too general. Have dream catchers, space dash space, home decor, space dash space, bohemian decor, or boho chic, or something like that. Big, strong keywords that describe what it is that you do. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go past the main part of your shop. We're going to go down to your about section, which is really important. But before I do that, you only have 8 items. It says you opened up in 2016. I'm not sure if that was like the last part of 2016 or the beginning. Again, I don't know your story. You may have a full-time job. You might have 5 kids. I don't know what your story is, but I can tell you, to have a successful Etsy shop, you need to have a decent amount of items in your shop. Is there a specific magic number? No, there is not. And you will have a lot of people tell you a lot of different things, but the truth is, Etsy has not come and said to anybody that there's a specific magic number. But I can tell you, out of my experience, and I have a group of over 3,000 members that have Etsy shops, and I have a group with 50 members that sell 6 figures. The more listings you have, the better. So I like to tell new shops to have between 28 and 48, so about basically 50 items if they can, 25 to 50 items in their shop. If you can do more than that, that's great. Again, the more keywords that you have, the more items and titles, the broader your reach is going to be throughout Etsy. Now again, when you're making the one-of-a-kind items, I can understand how hard it would be to make up to that many items. And again, if you're working or you're a mom, it's going to be hard for you to, manage a shop and life. I totally get that too. But if you're asking me to critique your shop because you really want to have and find success, you're going to need to add more items into your shop. When you do that, you want to separate them into categories. So you say you have dream catchers and home decor. Well, all I'm really seeing is dream catchers. Are you going to add more dream catchers? How would you divide them up? Like maybe this one versus this type, perhaps by color, perhaps by style. If you're going to add different home decor in, The more categories you can have, the better, and the more specific the titles are in those categories, again, will help boost your ranking in search. Okay, so you are missing a huge section in your shop. You see this about page? You're missing it. And that's bad because Etsy in November of 2015, I believe it was, said when they came out with this new, maybe it was 2000, no, definitely 2015. When they came out with the new shop design, they clearly said that those sellers that have a full filled out, basically a full and robust about page, will be given a slight bump in ranking. And they said that. They even used the word slight. So it's something, when Etsy says things like that, you want to pay attention. You want to take notice. You don't have an about section. It's completely empty. So that means that other shops are going to get ranked before you because they have a full about section. And you might say, and I get this a lot, is that, well, nobody really reads the about section. They do. Now, maybe not everybody, but many of them do. And again, why are people buying on Etsy? They want handmade. They want the story behind the item. They want to know the artist and the designer behind the product. So in this about section, you have a 5-picture slideshow that can go in this section. Etsy offers you 5 photos. One of those photo slots can be used as a video. Okay. You want to put those in. You want to put pictures in. If you can make a video, make a video. These need to be pictures of your materials, pictures of your tools, pictures of your workspace, pictures of you perhaps weaving your dream catcher, pictures of your family, or you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your children, or you and your pets. It needs to be about you as an artist. How did you get started? What inspires you? Why are you doing what you do? How did you come to make it and sell it on Etsy? You want to tell your story. You want to have about 3 to 4 paragraphs in text, and you want to have photos that back it up. All right? And I can show you an example. I know that we're running pretty late. It's already 32 minutes. So I won't. But if you look at... well, I'll go ahead and do it. What the heck? So Felicity Cooney, she's this awesome woman, designer. She's in Flourish. She's in our Flourish group. And she makes these sandals. She makes some beautiful stuff. She's a leather worker. And you know, I make good money. But I would have a real hard time with spending $160 some on sandals. I mean, they're sandals, right? I mean, I don't know what you wear, what your style is, but it would be very difficult to spend $160 some for me on sandals. Especially, I don't know who this person is, right? I mean, I'm just assuming if I was a regular customer. But you go down here to her About section, okay? This is her. Look at her beautiful photos. Watch this video. Now, I'm not going to play the whole video, okay, because it's like a 3-minute long video. But I'll play like the first minute of it. And you tell me what it makes you feel like. Or think about what it makes you feel like. Obviously, you can't talk to me right now. Here we go. So this is just a good example of how a video or pictures can change someone's mind. Now all of a sudden I see the value in these shoes. I mean, I just watched this amazing process. So now all of a sudden, you know, $160 some for a pair of shoes doesn't seem so unreasonable. I mean, I have to have these shoes, right? I mean, they're amazing. And just to watch her go through that whole process, now I appreciate her time. I appreciate that these are fine materials. That is what a website, or I'm sorry, I'm trying to get back here in my thing. That is what a video or a good picture can do for you. A second. The little recorder button is like, I'm gonna have to move it. There we go. In my way. Okay, sorry about that. So, I mean, that's how important it is to have something in your about section. You know, you want to think about when you go to a craft fair, you want to go, or you go to a maker's mart or something like that, and you think about the crowds of people that you might see around booths. You know, what are those crowds of people looking at? Usually, they're looking at a maker making. They're looking at someone blowing glass. They're watching a woodworker whittle wood. They're watching someone paint their paint faces. They're interested. The human condition is interested, is excited, is fascinated by other people creating things, especially when they're not so creative on their own. Very important section. You want to add that in right away. It's very good that you're listing your three main avenues, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Those are the main three that I recommend as well. Let's talk about pricing. Okay, so you're pricing in whole numbers, which is what a lot of crafters and makers do. It's easier to do books that way. It's kind of just clean and to the point. It's not how successful sellers sell, however. I know that there's a lot of pushback in the maker community, in the handmade community, of using the 99-cent price point or the 95. Either or will work. And I totally get it, but it works. It works, it works, it works. There has been multiple studies online about e-commerce buying habits. There has been probably hundreds of studies on this very subject. It's called psychology pricing. You can look it up. What it means is basically, and let's take for example those of us in the U.S. When we were brought up in school and we were taught in school, we were taught to round, right? So we either round up or we round down. We don't realize how much we use that skill even today. So, for example, this is $25. If you had it at $24.95, and I would recommend $95 for your particular shop because $95 has more of a boutique feel to it, whereas $99 is more of a discounted feel. Now, you wouldn't want to use $97 or $98 because those have a connotation around them that would kind of represent being marked down or discontinued or expired. When you think of 97 cents or 98 cents, you think of, you know, items that have been written off and things like that. Whereas 99, I mean, you go in today, you go into a BMW dealership and you look at a car and you're going to see $69,995. I mean, it's just very, this is across the board. Restaurants use this, Starbucks uses. I mean, it's just, it's a pricing psychology that we might find annoying if we're going to talk about it out loud. Like, for example, if this was $24.95, we might say, well, that's just silly. If you actually had to focus on it and talk about it, you know, why would you just put 95 when you could mark it up a nickel and just say 25? It's silly. I don't like it when people do that. But we're sellers. Buyers do not think of things that way. And I guarantee you, if you become aware of your own buying habits, you will realize that when you look at prices, it's kind of a subconscious thing. So when you see $24.95 versus 25, in your mind, you're thinking that's under $25. And that word under is kind of the key there. It's under $25. You come home, your husband says, "Hi, how was your day? I went shopping and hey, I got this awesome dream catcher for under 25 bucks." Oh, that's awesome. So you might think it's just a little difference. It's a penny or it's a nickel, but it does make a difference when it comes to actually getting your customer to hit that buy button. Now, there's also certain price increments that we like to teach from, and that is when they've done these studies, when they've done these tests, they monitor buyers, e-commerce, people that are buying online, monitor what prices get clicked on more often than others. And from that, we kind of have different price increments. It looks to me like you're doing it in pretty much fives. So, you know, this would be $44.95, $24.95. Personally, I think if someone's going to spend $44.95, they'll spend $49.95. So I would actually mark this up to $49.95. Mark this down to $24.95. Mark this to either $69.95 or $79.95. I don't mind a $5 price point below 50, but after 50, I really think it should go in tens. $39.99 or $39.95, $29.95. I really feel that will help get those people that are perhaps unsure or not quite sure if they want to buy something today or not. It will help encourage them to do so. Now, this is not going to be a make or break kind of thing. It's not like if you're going to price full pricing, nobody's going to buy from you, or if you price with 95, all of a sudden you're going to start selling a ton. That's not what I'm saying. Again, it's these little teeny tiny changes that when you make them together as a whole, people will enjoy being in your shop more. They will have a better experience. They will feel more comfortable. They will be more encouraged to buy. And that is the goal, is for you to encourage them to buy. All right, let's talk about your pictures. Your pictures are not good. Now don't take offense to that, please, because I'm just being honest, and this tends to be the number one issue that creatives have issues with. It's either photography or SEO. Usually, if one is strong with one is not so strong with the other. It all has to do with, I think, the left and right brain. But remember the feeling that you're trying to create. Remember the customer that you're trying to attract. So I'm going to do a quick search here to see if I can find some examples. The good news for you is that most sellers on Etsy do not take good pictures. 80% of Etsy sellers do not really have good product photography. So I want to kind of see if I can find you some examples of good photography and kind of show you what the difference is in feeling. So when we look through, and we're just going to kind of go through like this, okay? You have this beautiful picture here. This is a good picture. Look at that feeling. It kind of gives you that nice kind of boho chic feeling. It automatically, if you look at this compared to this, let's say, all right, and this is $45, this is $25, obviously this one is going to get your vote, right? Or it's going to get you to click on it. Now this is different as it has feathers and this has fabric, but it really does make a difference as far as photography goes. Here's another good example here. So you have the more cream background. It looks more soft. It looks more, like I said, that boho chic. Whereas this is against the rock. It's dark. It just does not, it's busy. It just doesn't look as clean. It doesn't look as soft as some of these other ones. So product photography does make a difference. Now it looks like the majority of the ones on this page are photographing them on a solid color background, which is what I would recommend for dream catchers. Not rocks, not wood with slats in them. Now, this is not necessarily to say that it has to be on a white background. It can be on a white background. It can be on a cream background. It can even be on a gray or a cream. You want it to be light and bright. When I say light and bright, I mean that there's a lot of light in the picture. It doesn't necessarily mean the color of the background, but you want light. See, these are not necessarily horrible photos, but because it's on a black background, it just kind of gets lost in the page. You want something that pops out, like this pops, right? Or this pops. This stuff is all so busy and so distracting that people aren't going to pay attention to it. They're just going to keep going. They're going to look at the ones that, you know, stand out to them. So I think I would recommend for you to find a neutral background, something that has a lot of light. If it's natural light, that's even better. And photograph your items as such. Photographing them outside. So you have to go back again because here we go. Photographing them outside is just, it's distracting. And this is okay, but the lighting is so different on them. You really want to make sure you have some good natural light. And if you don't have natural light, you want to set up lights so that they're the same in every picture that you take. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is your SEO. Now, SEO for Etsy, they really focus on, and the algorithm focuses, for now at least, focuses on the Etsy listing title and the tags. All right, so this is the listing title. This down here is the tags. And what we teach is that you want to use a good combination of long tail keywords and shorter keywords, more targeted keywords, and some general keywords. So what is important to know, and I think this will help you a lot, I'm not sure how many views you're getting a day, but the first 66 characters are the most important in the title. You have Star and Wood Bead Dreamcatcher. Star and Wood first is what you're going to get the most priority on in search. All right? That's not what you want to have the most priority on. You want Dreamcatcher to be more priority. You want to come up number one on the number one page in the Dreamcatcher category, not the Star and Wood category. All right? Now, a lot of people use a lot of different tools, and a lot of those are up for debate. I don't like to debate that because different people learn in different ways. So some people love the Google Keyword Planner. I mean, they love it. It makes sense to them, and they like doing their keyword research that way. Others love Marmalade and feel that Marmalade is so great for Etsy shops. Others like to use other tools like Market Samurai or Etsy Rank. Me personally, because everyone always asks, I didn't know about the Google Keyword Planner when I was selling on Etsy, and they didn't have Marmalade when I was selling on Etsy. I used Common Sense, and I used the Etsy search bar. Now, what I love about the Etsy search bar is that it shows you the most current, accurate, and popular search terms as you type it in. So it auto-populates what people are searching for the most. So I'm going to just put in what you have. You have Star and Wood. And do you see how nothing's populating up other than the words that I'm typing as I'm typing it? That means nobody is searching for that, or at least not enough people for it to come up or auto-populate. Now if I put Dreamcatcher in, look, I just put DREA, and look what comes up. Dreamcatcher, Dreamcatcher, Dreamcatcher wall hanging. Okay, so all of these right here are awesome keywords to put in. All right, so I would start with that. You have Bohemian Dreamcatcher. That's awesome, both ways. What about boho? Yep, boho is one. Vintage Vintage is not. Let's say vintage lace. Vintage lace is rustic decor, gypsy decor, hippie decor. Those are good ones for sure. Boho chic decor. Gift for her. I think this would be more something personal. I don't know if people would buy it for a gift. They might. What about housewarming gift? That might be nice too. So I would put the star and wood if that needs to be in the title. I definitely would put, or star and wood bead, I would put that either at the very end here, or I would take it out completely and just come up with another keyword, like wedding decor even would be beautiful, like rustic wedding decor. That's a real big one. Yeah, rustic wedding decor. So I might use that as well. What you want to do when you get these titles filled out, and I like to use space dash space. A lot of people use commas, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. The algorithm doesn't see punctuation, so it's not a big deal. But I think as far as the flow and the ease of the ease on your eyes, definitely space dash space looks better. Doesn't seem like a run-on sentence of sorts. You can copy this title, and then in this section that Etsy gives you to put your tags, paste it into that section, and then just add the commas to separate the individual tags. There's some strengthening to SEO when you copy the keywords in the order that you have them in your title, also down in your tags. Now don't worry, you'll have other tags to use, but having them as close as you can to the title is important. Now let's say that you have a keyword that's too long to put in the tag. So let's say that you have dream catcher wall decor, let's say. Then you would want dream catcher in one and wall decor in the other. Okay? Make sure you're using all 13 tags. Also, if you can put any of your keywords, your strong keywords, if you can put any of those into your copy, just sprinkle them throughout. You don't have to, a lot of people think you have to copy the title and then put it into the copy. You don't have to do that. Just sprinkling them in as it makes sense, like in natural language, that's what you want to do. So when you have keywords here and keywords here and keywords here, you're strengthening that SEO. You're optimizing your listing so that people that are searching for Dreamcatcher, Etsy's going to be sure to put you at the top. All right? Also, you can interlink. You can add a link in, like, thank you so much for stopping by my shop. If you'd like to see our other beautiful vintage lace dream catchers, or lace dream catchers, or star dream catchers, whatever you'd like to do, click here and then interlink, meaning paste the link to that section in your shop. Again, that helps strengthen your SEO. See, now these are pretty good photos. This one is not, but this is pretty good. That's good. That's beautiful. You will sell a lot more with this as a photo than this as a photo. All right? Also, you want to make sure that you're selling the story. You know, when we talk about copy, we mean copywriting. We mean the text that's on your listing pages. So the text that you use will strengthen the buyer's idea, I guess, or picture or visual of them owning this dream catcher. So you really want to, you know, think of your copy as your digital salesperson. You want to use those keywords, but you also want to sell the story, you know, paint the story, and think of your target audience, of who you're talking to. You're talking to people that are more boho or more hippie-ish or whatever. So using your words and making the first paragraph kind of your story paragraph. The next paragraph, kind of the specs, and the third paragraph, you're thanking them and interlinking to another section in your shop. That will really pull together everything as a whole. All right, Anna. Well, we're almost to an hour. This is a very long critique. I hope that it helped you. If you have any questions, please message me on Facebook. I will be posting this to YouTube, so it will be public. Um, if you need anything, if you want, I know you're not in our group. If you'd like to join our group, please feel free. We'd love to have you um, and get to know you a little bit better. If not, that's okay too. You can join the Joyful Entrepreneur group on Facebook. It is free. It does not cost anything. If you would like to join that, just search the Joyful Entrepreneur groups on Facebook and we can add you in. But I wish you the best. I think you have a great talent, a great skill, a beautiful eye for mixing fabrics and lace and materials. I think you could have really great success, and this could be your full-time job. You really have to put in the work, and it is a lot of work. But if you really want this to be a business, a successful business, I think that you definitely have the potential to be there. So thanks so much. I wish you the best, and hopefully I'll see you in our group. Bye.